Recently, we've talked about all the big tech stock names, Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, but we're missing one big one, and this one is about to explode in the stock market. I want you guys to check out Netflix, ticker symbol NFLX.
I gotta say, I'm incredibly excited.
Guys, take a look at this chart right here. As you can see, Netflix has been on a tear for the past year. Every single earnings report has caused this stock to run higher, and it's been a healthy upward trending stock, staying above this red SMA line, which is our simple moving average line. And because of this, this isn't an overall uptrend, and it's about to have a huge breakout up here at all-time highs around $725. But let's look back and see where we were last time around this year. $340 was what the stock was at last year before it started its massive rally, jumped off of earnings and ran all the way up to this $500 area where we actually stayed for a little while and couldn't break through. Now we're starting to see that here where we are at $725. But after we broke through at $500 here, yet again at another earnings breakout, we had the stock jump from $500 all the way up to $640 before falling back to the downside. Yet again, had another earnings breakout to the upside, causing this to yet again break through another area of resistance, hitting $700, falling back down to the downside. This wasn't the best earnings report, our last earnings, but we did have another breakout off of this red SMA line, which caused us to have a huge rally from lows around $580 up to this $700. Finally, after many times of trying to break through $700, we broke through to the upside, and now our next barrier is $725, which today we tapped multiple times, but we could not break through. And today you can see it right here. We tried to break through 725, hit it right on the money, and we could not break through to the upside. This is what I'm talking about when support and resistance comes into play and is so important. But it had a great day for the overall stock. It ran from 703 up to 725, up almost 3% in the day for a big blue chip stock. This is a great FANG name to have in your investment portfolio, and I believe that Netflix is a great name just to have in general. $721 a share at close today after getting beat down off of this resistance. I mean, you can see this is just a strong area of resistance. We've tried to break through multiple times and couldn't. But what does this mean for you guys with upcoming earnings on the 17th of October? The 17th of October has upcoming earnings, and I've been looking into earnings a little bit to see here, and we already got some price target upgrades, downgrades, some neutrals. And if you see here on tipranks.com, you can pull up the price targets, and you can see that we have high price targets upward to $900, even close to $1,000, with some analysts projecting for price target upgrades of where the stock is going to head by the end of this year, heading into 2025. The average price target is $720, right on the money. I mean, Netflix right now is hovering around that 720 spot, and that's exactly what most analysts are predicting it at. But we have a low price target all the way down to $540. A company like Barclays is ranking this right now like $580 for a stock target price, and they believe that the stock's actually going to come lower into the end of the year. Now, this stock tends to be very volatile off of earnings. This can either go to the upside or to the downside, and we've seen it multiple times in the past. But moving forward, we want to see this have a huge breakout above 725 and move higher, closer to this 800 mark. It's a big tech stock. It's a big name that you want in your investment portfolio if you're going long term, but it's also great to trade off of. Now, heading into earnings, we're in a very interesting spot. You can see that in multiple earnings from the past, we've seen it bounce off of lows heading into earnings, which caused it to move higher. You can see here we had a pullback heading into earnings, bounced off of earnings. Heading into earnings, had a slight pullback, bounced off of earnings. Heading into earnings, had a pullback, bounced off of earnings. Here, we had a slight pullback heading into earnings that was beaten down after with earnings, and then had a bounce off of this red SMA line here, which caused us to continue up in our overall upward direction. So looking at Netflix and the way that it trades in the past is very important, because that's going to kind of help depict which direction this is going to go in the future. Now, the way the stock traded today is very important to also understand, because it's trading inside this resistance and support area. If it can break out of this $725 range and break to the upside, this is going to at least $750 or beyond. Now, the way that the stock has been trading for about the past week has been sideways. It can't go below 700, but it also can't go above 725, which gives us an easy support and resistance trading technique. I mean, this is about the easiest setup you can get when day trading. buy low near support and sell high near resistance. It's about as simple as it gets. But this is how Netflix has been trading. But one of these days is going to have a breakout. I don't know whether it's going to be before or after earnings, but we have still just about another 10 days until earnings on the 17th, which is really going to determine whether this stock is going to continue in its upward direction and break out of 725 or fall to the downside and break below 700, which could cause it to go back to 660, which is another area that we saw some resistance and support in the past. And then if it falls below 660, we can see this come all the way back down to this red SMA line around 620, 630. So you really have to understand right now the support and resistance area that we're trading between on Netflix. That's in the short term. Long term, I wouldn't start adding shares up here. I want to see maybe a slight pullback in the short term off before earnings, and then have a strong earnings report that'll cause us to jump. And then we can buy that slight dip before earnings, which we've seen in the past. We've seen last year the stock tend to pull back heading into earnings, which was a good thing for us as buyers playing off of earnings, because it allowed us, look at right here, it's 385 down to 347 off of earnings. Earnings bounced and popped this thing back above $400. Now, it's not guaranteed that's going to happen, but we saw it here too. Off of this resistance area, off to 500, bounced to the downside, reported earnings here, and it bounced above 500 and then rallied the next several days up to 575. So it's not guaranteed that this is going to rally. It's not guaranteed that it's going to break through any resistance areas, but we have still another 10 days, and if we hold between this resistance and support area, earnings is going to be the deciding factor as to whether or not this stock is going to continue higher above 725 or fall below $700. This could be easily a $1,000 stock closer to the end of the year and heading into January, February, March of 2025, or it could be back down below $650, even closer to $600 by the end of this year heading into 2025. It could go either way. Earnings report, though, I like the odds that we're going to have stronger earnings. I'll post the picture up here of the earnings forecast and what we're expecting. But like I said, with the analysts expecting price targets of $700 plus heading to $900 now, we like the odds that Netflix is going to move higher. There's a very strong possibility that this stock is going to have a huge breakout above this resistance at 725. So for short-term traders, continue trading this thing in this sideways bracket. It's a very easy stock to trade when trading sideways throughout day trades, and even looking into swing trades, because it's so volatile to the upside and then to the downside, and it swings both ways, which is great for day traders and swing traders. But if you're looking more longer term with longer term investing opportunities for a stock like Netflix, you want to make sure that this thing pulls back, because it's hot right now, and it's either going to burst through to the upside and break above 725, or it's going to fall back to the downside, and we'll just see this thing back in the 600 area. It's going to go one way or another here in the next couple days, and I think that earnings is going to have a huge impact as to kind of what way it moves. So let's watch to see what happens and see if there's a pre-anticipatory run up into earnings, which means it's going to, all the hype into earnings is going to cause this thing to run through 725, or if there's kind of a downplay up to earnings, which will be nice because it'll cause the stock to pull back, even break below a support level here at 700, and then cause it to bounce off of earnings, because earnings will beat expectations, and all that hype before wasn't really there. So now all the post run up hype will be there, and it'll cause a stock to run through resistance areas and cause it to head towards $800, even $900. So let me know what you guys think about the stock Netflix down below in the comments section. If you guys are new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, like this video, and comment what you think about the stock Netflix. I'll see you guys in the next video.